360 is when you quickly spin around in a circle around the killer, making them miss you. This works because you spin faster than they can turn their screen, making them swing behind you. However, 360 does have a high likelihood of not working, so if there are any windows or pallets in the area, go to those first before attempting the 360. 360 doesn't work for two reasons. The first one is that the killer turns faster than you can 360 around them. This is the much more common one, and the higher killer sensitivity, the higher the chance of this happening to you. The second one only really happens at the higher ranks, and it's when the killer backs up. When they do this, you won't be 360ing around them, you'll be 360ing in front of them, so it'll just hit you. When 360ing, there are also a couple things to keep in mind. The first one is your sensitivity. Your sensitivity is how fast and far the screen moves when you interact with it. This means that the higher sensitivity, the faster your screen will move when you interact with it. When you use 360, you want to move your joystick in a circular motion, like this, and then move your screen to one side. If done correctly, this will cause you to spin really fast. This is how you 360 a killer. It is also important to know how to increase the likelihood of your 360. For example, you could fake one way, like pretending to vault a window, and then you 360. The killer will swing for the window if they're close enough, and then you can just 360 them. This gives the killer less time to react and turn, giving you the higher chance of your 360 working. In open ground, you could also fake one way, like this, and then turn around. This also gives you more time and space to 360 the killer. Flashlights can also greatly increase the chances of your 360 working. When you click your flashlight, it makes your character face the way that your camera is facing. So for example, if you're running away from the killer and you're looking at them, you can click your flashlight to make your character face the killer. This is really important because when you start your 360, normally your character has to spin to one side before going around the killer. And when you click your flashlight, it completely skips this step. So it basically makes your 360 take less time, which increases the chances of it working. You can also do a ton of cool tricks with flashlights and a ton of fancy tricks. I personally just experimented with flashlights a little bit before finding all these tips. Iron Will is also a great perk for 360, and Corn is also an amazing place to 360. Iron Will, first of all, if you 360 a killer once, normally they'll be able to just see where you are because you're red marks that they can see, but Iron Will is probably the best perk in my opinion, and it makes it so that the killer can't see those. So if you 360 them once, they will have no idea where you are, and this gives you a lot of distance. And Corn, it just makes it so much harder for the killer to see. If you have Corn and Iron Will, the killer will. It is very, very hard for them to catch you. In one of my videos, you can actually see this. I 360 a killer a lot in Corn before they hit me once. I think it's 5 or 6 times. This shows how overpowered Corn is, especially on mobile, because mobile, the graphics are really bad, so it's really hard to see through Corn. It's also important to note how the killer's hitbox is and how it changes. So during any animation, the killer's hitbox disappears, which means that you can walk through them. So when they're grabbing, when they're picking up a survivor, when they are, for Michael Myers, for example, when they stalk, when they hit you, which is the most important, their hitbox disappears. That means when the killer hits you, you'll get a speed boost and they'll slow down, but you can also go through them. That means if you're trying to lose a killer, or you just, this only works sometimes, so it's quite risky, but when it does, you can almost completely lose the killer. When the killer hits you, you use the speed boost to turn around and go through them. So you basically 360 through them because their hitbox is gone, and then you stand inside them and crouch. And when you're crouched inside a killer, it is almost impossible for them to see you unless they look directly down, and a killer won't do this, they will naturally look around for you to see where you ran off to. But when you're inside them, they don't see you, so they'll just run one direction to where they think you went, and they'll continue that way, and then you just run the other way. This allows you to lose a lot of killers, and can really only be done with Iron Will, though. But when it does work, you will just like, you need to practice it, but once you get good at it, you can do it pretty consistently. You can also counter Huntresses pretty well with 316, and just being unpredictable. Good Huntresses will pretty much never miss if you're running in a straight line, and they have like a good view on you. So you just want to be as unpredictable as possible, like 360, spinning, just generally like being very, very unpredictable. It will make Huntress games so much easier. You will rarely get hit by them because, especially with aim assist on mobile, playing as Huntress is really, really, really hard to do. And once you do this, like, it's just straight up bullying a hunter. Also up close, 316 works really well because normally when the killer swings, they can turn, which counters your 360, but when a huntress throws her hatchet, she can't turn, which means that getting up close with a huntress, and if you 360 her, she is going to have a very hard time hitting you. Okay, that was my tips and tricks for 316. There's probably a fair few that I forgot. If you need any tips, let me know down in the comments, and I'll see you.